You know, from the fuel that gets into your car to the fresh water that comes out of your tap, our entire world runs on a constant, invisible flow of fluids. But that flow doesn't happen by magic. Nope, it's powered by one of the most essential yet totally overlooked pieces of technology ever invented. So, let's dive into the hidden engines of our world. Let's talk about pumps.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Every single time we need to move a liquid or a gas, we are fighting a battle. We're up against gravity, friction, you name it. We've got to lift water to the top of a skyscraper, right? Or push oil through thousands of miles of pipeline. How in the world do we win this constant fight against the forces of nature?
Well, the answer, and really the hero of our story today, is the pump. It's such a simple idea, but with just incredible power. It's a machine that's designed to do one thing: add energy to a fluid to get it moving against all that opposition. These things are the absolute workhorses of our world, making what seems impossible possible every single day.
Now, here's what's so fascinating. While there are thousands, and I mean thousands, of different pump designs out there, they all boil down to just one of two fundamental philosophies. That's it, just two. Okay, so on one side, you've got your dynamic pumps. These guys are all about speed. They use a spinning part to basically grab the fluid and just fling it outwards at super high velocity. If you want to picture it, think about swinging a bucket of water around your head. That force that keeps the water in the bucket, that's the idea. Then on the other side, you have positive displacement pumps. These are way more methodical. They trap a specific, fixed amount of fluid, and then they mechanically push it out. The absolute perfect analogy here is a medical syringe. You pull back, trap a set amount, and then push the plunger to force it out. See? Throwing versus pushing.
So, with those two core ideas in mind, throwing and pushing, let's pop open the engineer's toolbox and take a look at some of the most common designs from each family. All right, first up, we have to talk about the undisputed champion of the dynamic pump world, the centrifugal pump. I'm not kidding, this is by far the most widely used pump pretty much everywhere, especially in chemical industries. Its whole job is to take the spinning energy from a motor and turn it into the flow of a fluid.
So how does this magic trick work? Well, it's this beautiful three-step dance. First, the fluid comes into the center and meets something called the impeller. Think of it like a specially designed propeller. Second, that impeller spins like crazy, and the centrifugal action just throws the fluid outwards, giving it a ton of speed. But here's the clever part, the third step. That high-speed fluid flies into a snail-shaped casing called a volute. It's designed to get wider and wider, which forces the fluid to slow down. And when all that velocity energy has nowhere to go, it converts into pressure. It's brilliant. Velocity in, pressure out.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the other family. We're leaving the world of throwing fluid and we're now entering the world of pushing it. Just keep that syringe in your mind. Trap a little bit and push it out. Let me give you two great examples. First is the gear pump. It's just so simple and elegant. You've got two gears meshing together inside a super tight casing. As they spin, fluid gets trapped in the little gaps between the gear teeth, gets carried around the outside, and is forced out the other side. Then you have the diaphragm pump, which is really, really clever. It uses a flexible membrane that pulses back and forth to push the fluid. Now, why is that so important? Because it means the moving mechanical parts never actually touch the liquid. This makes it absolutely perfect for handling nasty, corrosive chemicals or even sludgy liquids with solids in them. Okay, so we've got all these different tools in the toolbox. This brings us to the next massive question for any engineer, right? How do you actually pick the right one for the job? How do you perfectly match a pump to the system it's going into?
Well, the key is to understand that every single pump has its own unique personality. And engineers capture this personality in something called a characteristic curve. It's basically just a graph that tells you, hey, at this flow rate, I can give you this much pressure. It's the pump's performance resume telling you exactly what it's capable of.
But, of course, the pump isn't just working in empty space. The pipe system itself has its own personality, and it pushes back. Think about it. The longer the pipe, the more bends and valves, the higher you have to lift the fluid, all of that creates resistance. And you can plot that resistance on a graph too. That's called the system curve, and it shows how much pressure you'll need to get a certain amount of flow.
So you've got what the pump can do, and you've got what the system needs. The million-dollar question is, how do you find that perfect meeting point? The answer is found right where those two curves cross. It's a special place called the duty point. You literally just lay one graph on top of the other, and that single point where they intersect, that's the operational sweet spot. It's the point where the pressure the pump naturally wants to supply perfectly matches the resistance of the system. Hitting that duty point is the key to an efficient, happy, long-lasting system.
But even if you pick the absolute perfect pump, it's not invincible. Oh no, there are hidden dangers, literal operational nightmares that can completely destroy a pump from the inside out if you're not careful.
Now, the key to understanding this danger is wrapped up in this one critical principle. It sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. It just means that if the pressure inside the pump drops too low, the liquid can literally start to boil, even if it's cold.
This terrifying phenomenon has a name, cavitation, and it is a pump killer. That dangerously low pressure at the pump's inlet causes tiny bubbles of vapor to form in the liquid. Then, as those bubbles get swept into a higher pressure area inside the pump, they collapse violently. It's like thousands of microscopic explosions going off at once, literally blasting away little pieces of metal from the inside.
So how on earth do you prevent this disaster from happening? Well, it all comes down to one single critical number that engineers live and breathe by. It's called NPSH, which stands for net positive suction head. All that really is a way of measuring how much pressure you have at the pump's inlet to keep that liquid from boiling.
And the golden rule is simple. The amount of pressure your system provides has to be greater than the minimum pressure the pump needs to operate safely. So how do you do that? Well, a couple of ways. You can increase the static head, which is a fancy way of saying just put the pump lower than the tank it's pulling from so gravity can give you a helping hand. Or you can cut down on friction by using bigger pipes or slowing down the flow on the way into the pump. Okay, there's one more absolutely critical rule, especially for centrifugal pumps, that you just can't ignore. It's something called priming. Here's why this is so important. The amount of pressure a centrifugal pump can create depends directly on the density of whatever it's moving. So if your pump is full of air, which has a super low density, instead of a liquid, it's just going to spin and build up almost zero pressure. It won't have the oomph to suck the liquid up into it. So before you ever start one, you have to make sure the pump and its suction line are totally full of liquid first. That's priming.
So there you have it. From their basic principles to the dangers they face, pumps are just a masterclass in elegant engineering. They are the invisible, powerful force fighting gravity and friction for us every single second of the day. So the next time you turn on the faucet or fill up your tank, just take a second to think, where's the hidden engine that's making this happen for me?